Ali Khamenei just did something that could change how this entire conflict plays out. He wrote a will, not a personal one, a government war plan. And what's inside it? It's forcing military planners in places like Washington and Tel Aviv to rethink everything, because this isn't really about missiles or airstrikes. It's about one question. What happens the morning after he's gone? Here's what we know. Khamenei quietly called in Ali Larijani, one of the most trusted figures in Iran's system. Behind closed doors, he didn't just talk. He handed over a plan, a full contingency system for war. Not one backup plan, not two. 4 complete layers of command, each one ready to take over instantly. Think about how this works. If the top leadership is taken out, Layer 1 activates immediately. If that gets wiped out too, Layer 2 steps in. No delay, no confusion. Then Layer 3. Then Layer 4. And here's the key part. Each layer doesn't need permission. They already have. Their targets, their allies, their exact orders. And those orders are simple. Don't wait. Don't negotiate. Don't stop. This wasn't built randomly. Khamenei watched what happened to Hezbollah after Hassan Nasrallah was taken out. One leader gone, then the next, then the next, until the entire system broke down. That's the playbook he's trying to defeat. So he built something different, a system that keeps fighting even if leadership disappears. And here's the most dangerous part. Communication doesn't matter anymore. If systems go down, if commanders can't reach each other, if everything is cut off, they've already been told what to do. No waiting, no confirmation, no hesitation. And that changes everything. Because now, stopping one person doesn't stop anything. The absence of orders is the order. That's the line that changes everything. Because in this system, silence doesn't mean confusion. It means move. Now look at what just happened on the American side. A quiet meeting, no headlines, no cameras, but it matters. A White House envoy sat down with Reza Pahlavi, the son of Iran's last monarch who lost power during the Iranian Revolution. He's been in exile for decades, and now he's openly saying he's ready to lead Iran into a new future. At the same time, Washington is increasing pressure, military buildup, deadlines, warnings, and one word slipped out during all of this: capitulate. That's what the US expects Iran to do. But here's the real signal. You don't meet an exiled leader like Reza Pahlavi unless you're considering what comes after the current system. So now you have 2 strategies forming at the same time. On one side, pressure from outside. On the other, a backup leadership waiting in the wings. And facing that, Khamenei's system, built to make sure nothing collapses no matter what happens at the top. This is where things get dangerous, because these aren't separate moves. They connect. They're 2 halves of the same calculation. To understand why, you need to understand one idea: decapitation warfare. The strategy is simple. Take out the leadership, and the system freezes. No orders, no coordination, no response. It worked against groups like Al-Qaeda after Osama bin Laden was killed. It worked in other conflicts too. Because most systems depend on leaders to function. But this time, that assumption might not hold. Khamenei's plan removes the weak point. Every layer already knows what to hit, when to act, how to respond. No waiting for commands, no confusion. So if leadership is taken out, there's no pause, no window to exploit. What you get instead is something far more dangerous, a system that automatically responds. Think of it like a switch, not controlled in real time, already set. The moment the trigger is confirmed, everything moves. No hesitation, no delay, no one left to stop it. The trigger isn't just one thing. It's multiple scenarios, already built into the system. If leadership is taken out, it activates. If communication goes dark for too long, it activates. If cyber attacks shut everything down, it activates. If multiple command centers are hit at once, it activates. And here's the twist. These are the exact kinds of moves already built into US war planning. But under this new system, those same moves don't stop Iran. They trigger it. Now add one more piece. A statement that just came out of Washington. According to U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff, Iran is about a week away from having enough enriched uranium for a nuclear weapon. 1 week. That's the timeline. That means the clock is ticking on 3 options. Make a deal, strike the nuclear facilities, or accept that Iran crosses a major threshold. And here's where things get even tighter. On one side, Donald Trump has pushed for zero enrichment. On the other side, Iran says that's not a deal, that's surrender. Somewhere in the middle, a possible compromise, limited enrichment. But that gap between zero and some, that's where everything is stuck right now. And according to Iran's leadership structure, surrender isn't even an option. Not now, not later. Not for anyone who takes over. There's another signal hidden in all this. Witkoff made it clear. The final decision won't come from international bodies like the United Nations or the International Atomic Energy Agency. It comes down to one thing, U.S. policy. So what does that mean? This isn't shaping up as a global agreement. It's a direct deal, or confrontation, between Washington and Tehran, backed by military power already positioned in the region. Now step back and look at the full picture. A 1-week nuclear timeline. Military forces in place, a possible regime alternative being discussed, and a system inside Iran designed to keep fighting no matter what. That's when the timing becomes impossible to ignore. Because right as all of this is coming together, Khamenei finalizes that 4-layer system. He saw where this was going. He understood the pressure, and he built something designed for one purpose. Even if everything collapses at the top, the response doesn't stop. And now, there's one more image to think about. A man who hasn't lived in Iran for decades, standing in an American city, being told, quietly, that his moment might be coming. That's where these two paths meet. And what happens next is what the world is watching right now. Reza Pahlavi is 65 years old. He left Iran as a teenager when everything collapsed in Iranian Revolution. Since then, he spent his entire life in exile, moving through countries like Egypt and Morocco, and eventually settling in the United States. For decades, he's done one thing: waited, building connections, speaking publicly, keeping his name alive, even when most people believed his moment would never come. But now, that moment might be closer than ever. Pahlavi is positioning himself as a transitional leader, and that phrase changes everything, because a transitional leader isn't elected. They don't win a vote. They step in when power collapses and claim it before anyone else can. To do that, you need 3 things: recognition from a major power, a way to physically enter the country, and enough momentum on the ground to hold it. Right now, all 3 are starting to line up. Recognition, signals coming from Washington, transport easily arranged, momentum, ongoing protests across Iran. Some demonstrators are even chanting his name, calling for his return. Analysts like Karim Sajadpour say Pahlavi has become a symbol, a rallying point for national identity. But here's the reality. Most of these protesters were born after 1979. They never lived under the Shah. What they have isn't memory, it's nostalgia. An idea of a past they didn't experience, a version of Iran they've only heard about. Economic growth, more social freedom, a different global image. And that's where things get unstable. Because nostalgia can inspire people, but it can't guarantee what comes next. That uncertainty is the biggest crack in this entire strategy. Because while one side is preparing for a transition, the other side is preparing to crush it. Khamenei's system doesn't just plan for war. It plans for this exact scenario. If a foreign-backed figure tries to take control during a crisis, they are not treated as a political option. They are treated as an enemy. That order goes across the board. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Basij intelligence networks, every layer of the contingency system to them, a Pahlavi return isn't a transition. It's part of the same conflict. This week is not normal. While quiet meetings are happening, while talks continue in Geneva, while contingency plans move through back channels inside Iran, the message from Tehran is simple. You will not destroy this republic. That's not a slogan. It's a system. Behind that statement is something much bigger. A governmental will. Think of it as a dead man's switch built into the state itself. Military, intelligence, government, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Every layer has instructions. The design is clear. Even if top leaders are killed, even if command centers are hit, there is no vacuum, no pause, no 48-hour window of confusion. Retaliation continues. That's the architecture. Meanwhile, in Washington, frustration is visible. President Donald Trump openly questions why Iran hasn't simply agreed to terms. If they say they don't want a nuclear weapon, why not just prove it? But that confusion might be the most revealing part of this entire crisis, because Tehran is not confused. This week, Iran's supreme leader is reportedly drafting a governmental will, dispersing leadership into separate underground locations across multiple cities, issuing standing orders to 4 independent succession layers, publicly declaring the republic will survive, and at the same time, sending the foreign minister to Geneva with a written proposal. That's not chaos. That's preparation. Here's what Iran wants, clearly. It wants to survive as a sovereign state. It wants to keep its nuclear knowledge. It wants to keep its regional influence. It is willing to negotiate how it survives. It is not willing to negotiate whether it survives. That's the line. The governmental will is Tehran's answer to exile politics. The 4-layer succession system is its answer to a decapitation strike. The Geneva proposal is its answer to the deadline. And the United States? It holds 2 carrier strike groups in the region. It has an attritional campaign plan ready. It has opened quiet channels with figures connected to the former monarchy. And it faces a narrowing clock. As of this weekend, the plans are written. The succession layers are activated. Commanders have their targets. Now the only question left is this: which side moves first?